All right. Good morning, everybody.
That's how we fought Vietnam. That's how we won in Vietnam.
We didn't really win there.
What?
So we didn't really win there.
What? I told you that's how we won. The way they fight. They're doing this.
Yeah. All right. We have no choice though. All right. Today is Daf Tesvav. Sekas Baba Kama. So we left off 2 dots at the bottom.
Tesvav?
Yeah, Tessie. Oh, you got your Baba Kama here? No? Yeah, here you go, Baba Kama. Yeah, so at the bottom of Yud Daled on base. So 2 dots, we were going, explaining the cryptic Mishnah. So the next phrase was Alpi Edim, right? The damages you pay, right? Shum Kesef, Shavet Kesef, pay based in Alpi Edim. What does it mean Alpi Edim? So Prat L'mayde B'Knas, this would exclude someone who admits to something that he did, and the payment is a knas, is a penalty. Now, what is a knas penalty? A knas is opposite of mammon, right? Mammon is something which is compensation. In other words, whatever, according to my damage, that's what I compensate you for. So there is a compensation. A penalty is basically to prevent, right, from doing it again, and therefore it's not tied to the actual damage. So in other words, a person's speeding, right? And then he gets, he has to pay something, right? So it's a fine he pays. It's a knas because there was no damage, right? But it's not a compensation. Rather, it's a knas. Today is Tesvav. We're at the bottom of Yud Daled on base. So if as witnesses, so a person cannot go ahead and and admit to something to obligate himself to go ahead and pay a knas, to pay a penalty. So it says Al Pi Edim only through witnesses. So this would exclude someone who admits to a knas. And even afterwards, Bo Edim, the witnesses come, Shu Pater, that the person is exempt from paying. Because since he was the first one to basically notify Basin that he is obligated to pay this knas, and a person cannot pay a penalty on his own admission, therefore he's Pater. So Gemara says, so this works according to that Shita, who holds that one who goes, even if he admits to a penalty and afterwards witnesses come, we say, okay, you know what, witnesses, you should have come before him, but he already admitted to it, and therefore he got out of it. But according to the opinion who says witnesses come and afterwards, he admits, and afterwards witnesses come, he's still obligated to pay. So what does Al Pi Edim mean? So there is no chiddush there, but the bigger chiddush is from the Seifa. What was the Seifa? When the Mishnah says, B'nei Chayrin, top of the page of Tesvav and Ma'alef, this is today's Daf Avi Nida Gemara. He said, B'nei Chayrin, B'nei Bris. B'nei Chayrin, in other words, what is B'nei Chayrin? L'miutei avadim, in other words, penalty exclude servants, or slaves, excuse me, and B'nei Bris, and those who are the L'miutei avadim chavim, referring to Jewish people, to exclude avei kachavim. With Tzricha, we need to exclude both of them when it comes to damages. Right, Diashvina and Eved. If it's just Eved, Mishum Dein Lo Yachas, because over there he has no yichus. In other words, he has a kid, his child, it belongs to the master. So there's no yichus there. So maybe therefore he's not shayich to the laws of the regular laws, the standard laws of damages. Diashvina Nachri. If we just had because Nachri Mishum Delay Shach Mitzvahs, because Nachri is no shayich to mitzvahs, that's why he's not included in all the rules and regulations of damages. About Eved. But a slave, the shaykh b'mitzvahs, who is obligated to certain mitzvahs, asay she'enazan grama, right? So emalo, maybe I would say also he shaykh all the damages laws apply to him. So tzricha, therefore, both of them are stated. 2 dots around 6 lines to the top. All right, and women are included in the laws of damages, just like men. So Manohani, Millie, from knows from the Gemara is going to go ahead and bring 3 proofs. I'll explain why we need all of them. Amar Rabbi Yudam v'chein Tana debate Rabbi Shmuel. Amar Kar, the pasuk says, "Isha Kiyasa Mikol Katas." It says over there, when a man or a woman does any of the averas, they have to go ahead and bring a karban. So you see, the women are shayach to karbanos, right? They're the same as men. So So therefore, any punishments of the Torah, the woman is the same as the man. So that's one. We'll bring it all together. And the Rabbi Elazar Tana, it says, so it says, and these are the laws that you place before them. Who's before them? Men and women. So so a woman is compared to a man. And any laws in the Torah, right? Any laws referring to business laws and anything that has to do with monetary cases, a woman same as a man. And the Bechizke Rabbi Yosef Tana, Amarkar, the pasuk says, "Vehemis isha isha." If an animal kills a man or a woman, then it's the same punishment for the owner of the animal. So Ishva Kasav, Isha Isha, therefore the Torah compares a woman to a man, so all punishments and deaths in the Torah. Utsricha, we need all three sources. Why? If we just had the first one that taught us that both a man and woman have to bring karbanos, over there maybe that we were allowing a special case for the woman that she could get atonement by bringing a karban just like a man. But maybe when it comes to laws of commerce, but maybe it's only the man's there to go ahead and work and not a woman, and therefore maybe it's only shy to man and not woman, and therefore we have the other pasuk to tell us even by dinim the woman is the same as the man. If we just had a case of dinim, because let's say a woman needs to go ahead and work. So in other words, if she wasn't, if the woman wasn't the same as man when it comes to commerce, then people go ahead and rip her off and steal from her livelihood. So therefore, that teaches the woman is the same as a man. Kapara, but maybe kapara, ish devar mitzvah, but a man who's obligated in all the mitzvahs of the Torah, maybe he has more, and therefore he requires atonement. In ish delav bas mitzvah. But a woman who does not have all the same mitzvahs, I would say no. Therefore, we have that pasuk. And if we have these two psukim, the first one is because to teach us that a woman can get kapara just like a man. And the second one is that a woman, the commerce halachas are same as a man in order for her to go ahead and have a livelihood. But maybe when it comes to killing, but maybe a man who is obligated all mitzvahs in the Torah that only for killing him, then you have to pay kaifer. Isha lo, but a woman not. And therefore, we have to teach the pasuk that a woman is the same as a man. Whether you kill a man or your animal kills a man or a woman, you have to go ahead and pay kaifer. And if it was just the source, mishum dika, even the shama, because there's a loss of life, therefore a man is the same as the woman. Avalhani tarti, but the first cases in terms of getting atonement or commerce, the leki, but the shama, there is no loss of life. Amalo, I would say no. Therefore, we need all three cases all three sources to teach us that a woman is the same as the man when it comes to all these dinim of damages and all these halachas of payments. Fine. Smack in the middle of the page, 2 dots. Hanizak v'hamazik b'tashlumin. Both the damagee and the damager are involved with the payment. Okay? What does that mean? So Itamar. Now comes a famous machlekes. Palda niska. This chatzi nezek, right? We know that a short time, an animal that gores, so it's not necessarily the nature of an animal to gore, and therefore, if an animal gores, it's a little bit out of the ordinary, and therefore we hold that you pay chatzi nezek. You don't pay the full amount of damage, rather you pay half the damage. Basically, you split the cost with the damagee, right? My animal goes ahead and gores Randy's animal. So, so if it was worth $200, then there's $100 payment from my animal. Now, Rav Papa says, this payment that I paid to Randy is a mammon payment. It's a monetary payment. It's a compensation payment. Rav Huna, it's a penalty. The knas, my penalty for such a case is chatzi nezek, half the price. Now, let's see. Papa, he holds compensation. Most animals are not guarded. You got to guard your animal, and therefore, shimur kaiman. And I should have watched my animal, right? And I should have watched it. Right? And therefore, I should really have to pay the entire thing. I should have watched my animal. I didn't. My animal gored Randy's animal. However, the Torah showed some mercy upon me because my animal was not known to gore. Therefore, it says, Yoel, really you should pay 200. You only have to pay 100. So therefore, the Torah is it's a mammon payment, but just the Torah is merciful upon the owner that feels the shtickle bad. Rav Huna bar Devashu Amar, Knasa, it's a penalty. This payment of him is a knas. Saber, stam sharim b'chesel shimer kaimet. Most animals you don't need a guard from goring. There, utinu deloy v'shalom klal, and really I should have to pay him at all. Rachmanu the kansek yihechet delanatre the Torah, and therefore the Torah assesses a penalty in case my Tom goes out and gores, in order that I should basically watch my animal if I don't want to go ahead and pay the penalty. So we have one sheet that holds that the payment is a compensation, and the Torah just says, you only have to pay half the compensation. And the other one holds it's a knas, it's a penalty. So Tanan, let's look at our Mishnah. Now let's go back to our Mishnah. It says that the damagee and the damager. So Randy is the nizak and I'm the mazik. The tashlumin we combine for the tashlumin. Now, if well, according to the one who says that it's a compensation, compensatory payment, because Randy's both of us are paying for the tashlumin. How is that? I'm paying $100 because I caused damage. The Torah says you only have to pay half. Mm-hmm. And Randy's basically covering the other half, right, of compensation. Right, but he's covering, he's the victim, but the tashlumin is also coming from his pocket because it was a compensatory payment, right?
Because his animal
was damaged by mine. My animal gored his animal.
Right, and it was worth more.
It was worth more, but I only pay him half. So therefore, Randy covers the other half. He wants to go ahead and buy a new animal. Randy's paying for half, I'm paying for half. Ella, but according to Ella, but if you hold it's a knas, it's a penalty. Really, I don't have to pay you anything, but just Yoel Goldberg, you got to watch your animals better, and therefore we're going to fine you $100. So hashda delavdi de shako, but the shulman isay, but the shulman isay. In other words, really, Randy should get no compensation, but he's getting a penalty from me. So Randy's not paying for anything. Really, he just had bad luck. Right, he had bad luck, but he's getting $100 from a penalty for me.
As opposed to half of the damage.
Right, yeah, 30 shekel. I'm trying to think of another case where a knas is not a set amount. Right. Well, I guess over there in that case, right, you pay double, but it managed what was stolen, right? So, right, if you stole 200, or if you stole 7,000, right, you're paying double. So it would vary. But in this case, Randy's not paying for anything. The Gemara says, no, Randy gets, we saw this earlier, the depreciation of the carcass. So that was my animal gores it. Right now, when it gores it on January 1st, the dead animal, let's say it was $1,000 animal, right? Dead animals worth $200. By the time we go to Beis Din, it's worth $120. So who gets that loss, right? So the loss, Randy carries that loss. So therefore, right? So therefore, in that case, is on the nizak, right? He deals with the carcass. So Pichas Nevela, yeah. So Pichas Nevela, Hatale Reisha. But that was already said the ratio. We said earlier, Tashlomi Nezek, and we're going for the words Tashlomi Nezek, Malamit Shabalam Matafla, but the Nevela. We learned that the owner, he's the one who deals with the Nevela. So the Gemara says, no, Chad B'tam, Chad B'muad. Right? One is the case of Tam, and the other case of Muad. Utsricha, we need two cases to teach us both that the Nizak deals with the dead animal. If it was just in the case of Tam, because the animal is not a muad, and therefore it's not really on me, right? It wasn't really my fault, so therefore, Randy, take care of your own dead animal. About muad, but in the case of muad, my animal's gored before, and I should have been watching it much better, so therefore I should go ahead and take it out. But Yashmin and muad, if it was the case of muad, mishum, the kai mishalim kule, I'm paying him 100% anyways. Right, and since I'm paying 100%, maybe I should have to deal with it about Tom Amalo, but maybe for the so therefore in that case, maybe that's when the Nizak Randy deals with it. But if Randy's not getting full payments, let me go ahead, the damager, go ahead and do it. So therefore it's true. So Tashma, 5 lines at the bottom.
At the end of the depreciation, that the depreciation went against
the payments.
Yeah.
Right.
Therefore, the owner did.
No, but no. Then the question is, yeah.
It went by the day of that it happened, or the day of the.
So if you say the Nizak loses out, so it goes by the day of the Beis Din, right? It goes to the Beis Din, not earlier when it was worth more, because therefore now that loss is on him. So therefore, the Nizak, even though he's getting half the payment, but he's only getting half the payment from the time it was gored, and the other that in between, then that would come out of the Nizak's pocket. So let's say in this case with $1,000, right? So I have to pay $500, right? But he has an animal that's worth, so his damages, let's say the animal is worth 200, so he should get 300, right? From me, because he gets to keep the animal for 200 and 300. By the time when he gets paid, the animal comes down to 125. So he only gets my 300 and the 125, and therefore, as the Nizak, right, he would suffer the loss. So therefore, the nizak is also coming to go ahead and and pay for damages, according to the one who holds that it's a knas. So Toshma ma bein tam lumuad. So what's there? We have another price that says what's the difference between a tam and muad? Shatam shalem chatzi nazek mikufo. Right, that the tam goes ahead and I have to go ahead and pay from my animal that damaged. So I have to go ahead and sell that animal, whatever it is, get the value from that animal, and pay half the damages to the damaged party. Muad mishalim nezek shalim minali, and if it's the case of muad, then I have to go ahead and even pay out of pocket, even if the damage, even my damaging animal was worth less. And if now we're talking over here, we're saying Lisa Nami, Hatam ain't mishalim al piazza, muad mishalim al piazza. If he holds as a kanas, then say like this. A guy admits, hey, my animal gored, so I have to pay chatzi nezek, but it's a knas. So knas on putter. Might be a knas, right? He's putter. So why don't you list that as also a difference between tam and muad? Or a person admits to it, right? So tam ein mishalim al piazza, muad mishalim al piazza. So Gemara says, no, tana b'shayir. It didn't list every case. So ma shayir, what did it leave out? The high shayir. The shayir chatzi kaifer. The case of chatzi kaifer. Now what's that? So let's say my animal was a tam, went ahead and killed somebody. So normally, if your animal is a muad and it kills somebody, you have to pay kaifer. You have to pay for the soul, right? Either the person died soul or your own soul, right? You have to pay for the kaifer. But let's say that's my case of muad. But what about a case of tam, right? My never gored before, and all of a sudden it gores somebody and kills them. So what do I pay there? Do I pay kofar? Do I pay chatzi kofar? Right, half of kofar, because half of kofar is like chatzi nezek, chatzi kofar. So that's the case, so shayar chatzi kofar, we leave out chatzi kofar. In other words, if my animal's a muad to kill somebody, it pays kofar. If it kills somebody for the first time, it pays chatzi kofar. So says, there's another difference between tam and muad. So Gemara says, imishum chatzi kofar, lav shiru, it's not left out, right? Hamani, whose opinion is this? This is Rabbi Yosef Glili, to Amar tam shali chatzi kofar, right? Because this is according to Rabbi Yosef Glili, who says that that what's it called? That tam does go ahead and pay chatzi kofar. So therefore, we say that it was not left out. In other words, but it's bedafka one of the differences. So therefore, you can't say that what's it called? You can't say that it was left out in this scenario. Fine.
But
so
Tashma sound definitely like knas.
But paying chatzi kofar. Well, it could be really. I wasn't because kufra the halacha is kufra kapara, right? Not kufra mammon, right? Kufra is a kapara payment, not a mammon payment. So it's also a question going on in the Makos over there. So let's see. It's an argument with Rabbi Yosef. It's not everyone holds like them. So Tashma, come and listen. A person says, "Hey, me story is ploni," right? Going in this case, the person says, "Hey, my animal, right? He's stepping up. He's like Maida, right? He's the one who do Maida. Hey, me shari as ploni, or shara shal ploni, or his, right? Or killed, either killed him or his, or shara shal ploni, or his animal, right? Harei zeh mishalim al piasmo. He pays for himself. So my lav b'tam is not referring to a tam, and we see that a tam is mishalim al piatzmo. It's a mammon. It's not a knas.
This is
answers,
where he comes.
He says he's one who admits it. So he admits it. And he's chayav to pay before witnesses, right? So he's the one. So he has to pay. So you must be mammon, not knas, right? If I go ahead and say I broke his window, so I have to pay. It's not a knas to pay for his window. It's a mammon, right? So it's over here. So Gemara says, no, but muad. We're talking about over here by muad where you pay nezek shalim. But tam mai, but what is it? Tam? So achinami de mishalim al piazza. You say he doesn't pay for himself. So yihachi al tani seifa. Why did it say in the seifa? Hey mis shari as avdo shalploni ein mishalim. Person says my animal killed someone's slave. So ein mishalim al piazza. He doesn't go ahead and pay, right? He doesn't go ahead and pay. Why? Because to pay for an evet is a knas, right? So it's a straight penalty of 30 shkalim. So leaf look believes badide. Why don't you say in this case of shoris ploni or shor ploni? B'medvar murin b'muad. Only b'muad you're chayiv to go ahead. Avalatami mishalim al piatzmo. So Gemara answers kula b'muad. We're only talking about a case of muad, and therefore we didn't want to go ahead and bring tam. So therefore we want to keep it there. And therefore, what's the case of muad where you're putter? That would be a case of when you kill an evet. So Tashma listen, Zeklal Kol Hamashalim Yaiser Al Mashahizik Eino Mashalim Al Piazza. Whoever has to go ahead and pay for more than that which he damaged, he does not pay for Al Piazza. In other words, let's say the damage is more than he damaged. So he doesn't pay for himself. In other words, it sounds like a case of where let's say Chatzi Nezek, right? Because other Nezek Shalem you pay out of pocket, right? It's min aliyah, right? Chatzi Nezek, you go ahead and you only pay for the animal. However, if the damage was more, right, then he's Einam Mashalim, Al Piatzmo. So my love, so it does not sound like, but if it's less, then you will be Mashalim. Chatzi Nezek. You should be Chayiv Al Piatzmo, and therefore, what do you see from over here? Chatzi Nezek Mashalim Al Piatzmo. Therefore, we see it's Mammon, right? It's not the Knas. Or says low. Kamashizik Mashalim, right? Or says no. It means that if you have to pay that which you damaged, then you pay Mashalim Al Piatzmo. If it's not the amount that you have to pay, the amount that you damaged, then you're not Mashalim. But what if it's less? You wouldn't pay for less. Why did you say this is the rule? Right? So why did you have to say if the payment is more than that which he damaged, he doesn't pay out himself? At least you should say, this is the rule. Whoever is not obligated to go ahead and pay exactly the amount that he damaged, right? Demashma pachai, so mashma yaisir, whether it could be either less or more, then he would be paid. But it doesn't say that. So he should have said that if that was your whole point. The point is mashma that sounds like for less, you would have to pay. So tiyufta. So therefore, it's a tiyufta on the one who holds that it is because it didn't say that way. It's a knas. So the hilchasa, what the halacha is, palga nisa knasa. The halacha is that the chatzi nezek is a knas and not mammon. So the says, I understand. Tiyufta v'hilchasa. We just asked the kasha and knas. We just said mashma over here that knas that you would be mishali that you would be mishali al piazza mashma knas. And now you're telling me that the hilchasa it is a knas. So it goes in yes. Time of mahi. What was the reason about tiyufta? The shum like the tani does because the brisa didn't say kmoshe hizik. Right? It didn't say fairish. You want to make a deal. It didn't say, right, if your damage isn't the amount that you damaged, you wrote if the damage was the amount of more, right? So therefore, it wasn't a real cash. It was a deal that you had. Okay, so they didn't write the right source. So lepsikale. And kevan dika chatzi nezek suras, because in other words, we didn't want to simply say the case of exactly, because there's times where you actually pay, where it's a mammon payment, and it's not the exact amount that you damaged. What's that case? Right? So if an animal is walking and it kicks up pebbles, so it's normal for an animal to walk, right? And an animal sometimes it's normal to kick pebbles, and it breaks someone's vase, right? It's nearby or his window, right? From the walking. So you're chayav to pay half the damages. Mm-hmm. Now, the hilchas that we have a halakha l'moshe Sinai gemira to teach us that this is a compensatory payment. Therefore, it doesn't say it flat out. Now, so now that we say the chatzi nezek is a knas, sahai kalva the achil imure vishinure. So you have a dog that went ahead and ate some small animals, a sheep or a cat, right? The achla, or excuse me, they ate a sheep of a shinur the achla tarnagola, or a cat that went ahead and ate a chicken. Meshunahi, that's not the normal way of these animals. And therefore, it's considered to be chatzi nezek, right? Not the normal way. Like goring is not the normal way. So to these animals do is not the normal way. And we would not be able to go ahead and collect in baba because a knas can only be given out by a beis din with smicha, and they weren't judging knas and baba. They had to go to Eretz Yisrael. We're only talking about large animals. Let's say a large chicken or a large goat, sheep. But a small ones then that actually is sort of the derech of dogs and cats. Be toughest, and if the guy goes ahead and let's say he was damaged, it's a chatzi nezik, and he took it away in Babel, we don't go ahead and take it from him, take it back. The amar kabuli, the zina, the azina v'aradi. So if he says, you know what, I want to get paid for chatzi nezek, I'll take it to a beis din in Eretz Yisrael, and over there where they rule cases of knas, and I'll go ahead and get paid. We do go ahead and set a time if the guy doesn't go ahead and show up. then he defaults. But be wise to go ahead and settle it, settle your damages there before paying all your expenses to travel to court. And if he does not go to the court there, so then we go ahead and put him cherem. In either way, he lives around a dog that causes damage or a cat. Then we do put him in cherem ad misalik hazeka until he removes the damaging item from his house. The tiny I know a person should not have a bad dog in his house, should not raise it, or have a crooked ladder people can fall. You should not have blood in your house. In other words, if you have a damaging dog or a broken ladder or stuff like that causes damage, you should move that from your house because of this possible. Fine. Naya Mishnah. Mishnah says, there's 5 categories of tam. Of something that's not by an ox, it's not normal for its behavior, and 5 of muad. So behema. So what is the behema time for? Eina muedes lo ligach, lo ligof, lo loshach, lo lirots, lo lirots. Right? It's not normal for an ox to go. If it's a first-time offense, it's called a tam. It's not normal for it to gore, to push, to bite, to basically crouch down upon, or to kick. If it does all those first-time offense, then you only pay chatzi nesa.
Okay.
However, what are the ones that are mechuyev? And hashein muad is lecho es harila. Right? An animal is normal. What are the muads? An animal is normal to go ahead and eat something that it's food for it. And harega muades lishpar b'der chalucha. And when an animal walks, it damages where it walks. So therefore, you have to be careful where it walks. V'shor hamuad, v'shor, and also an animal that has done it 3 times. V'shor hamazik, which is a nizak, or an animal causes damage in the other person's property. Therefore, it's always muad, even if it's a first-time offense. The adam and a man, person is always muad. You gotta, you're always responsible for your behaviors. Hazev, v'ha'ari, v'hadov, v'hanamar, v'habardalis, v'hanachash. So a wolf, a lion, a bear, a leopard, a barless, the Gemara discusses what that is, the hanachash or a snake, hare elam muadim. These are considered to be muad. You have one of these in your house, a wolf, you got a bear in your house, all right? You got a bear in your house, but then you got to go ahead and it's considered to be muad. You always have to watch it because you have to go ahead and pay for damages. Or pay, which, a barless or just in general, yeah? Yeah, I don't know if it's a dove, maybe, I don't know. And Rabbi Elazar, but no, if they're domesticated, then they're not considered muad. However, but a nachash, a snake is always muad. You can't go ahead and train a snake. Now, Zak the Gemara, it says over there, Shane is normal to go ahead and eat that which is food to it. Michlal, right? It sounds like, well, if it's eating, it's causing damage, right? Where is it eating? In the other person's field. So my animal goes in Alan's field, right? That's already in Alan's field, and it's normal if it goes out and eats it, that's muad. And it says that the behema, right, is not, he's not muad to go ahead and pay all of it. So money, whose opinion is this? This is Rabbani. The Amri Meshuna Karen B'Chatzia Nizak. It says over there that since it was, if it gores in his yard, I only pay chati nezek. So therefore, if it goes at it and it gores there, right? Then I only pay chati nezek in his yard and not full nezek. So one says, I aim a seifa. Well, let's look at the seifa. It says shor hamuad v'shor hamazik, shor hamuad v'shor hamazik b'shus hanizak v'adam. So it says over there, if my animal damages, if it gores in someone else in Alan's yard, I'm chayiv everything. It's more than the If it causes any damage, even goring. So you just said in the Reisha that goring is tam, even if it's the rishus of the nizak, right? Because we're talking about the rishus of the nizak because that's where the animal ate the guy's food, and therefore also those other cases we're also talking about in the damagers, in the damagee's property. So, but over here it says it's more than the So I understand. In the ratio is mashma, I pay chatzi nezek. And the Sefer says any animal is always muad and there's shus nizak. And the and that's also that goes according to the Tarfon. Demashuna Karen b'chatzer nizak nezek shalim hu demashalim. Right? Any damage according to Rabbi Tarfon that's done in the guy's yard is nezek shalim. So Reisha Rabbanan, the Sefer Rabbi Tarfon. So the Reisha is the corner Rabbanan that pays. He says you pay Chati Nezek, and the Sefer goes to Rabbi Tarfon, who says you paid Nezek Shalim, even though it was a first time offense and he was a tam. Gemara says, yes, as we saw earlier, Damar Le Shmuel Rav Yehuda, like Shmuel said Rav Yehuda, Shina Shavuk Masnisen Abasrai. Stop trying to go ahead and figure out the Mishnah. Learn like me, or indeed is the Reisha is the Rabbanan. The Reisha is according to the Rabbanan. It says you pay Chatzi Nezek in the Rishus and Nizak if it was a first time offense, and the Seifa Rabbi Tarfon. The Seifa goes according to Rabbi Tarfon that says even if it was a first time offense, if it was a Rishus and Nizak, then you pay Nezek Sholim. All right, we'll stop here. Everyone have a wonderful day.